Of the wonderful Benjamin Briggs, and of course Golden Delicious himself, Time Metropolis.
Hey everyone.
Ben, how you doing?
Good. At first I didn't think the recording was recording, so I wasn't sure whether I should say hello.
The recording's always recording.
Excuse me.
It's up to you to notice that the recording is actually recording. Where you been, man?
Just hanging around,
I just went through puberty.
just hanging around, you know?
Yeah, voice has changed a bit.
Shut up. Who asked you?
You're the one that pointed it out.
Anyway, alright. So we got a couple topics to go over tonight. A few questions, comments, and see what kind of tangents we go into tonight. First thing on our agenda is the Mission Impossible Rogue Nation trailer has just dropped. It was teased on Monday. It dropped Tuesday morning. I'm not a big fan of the Mission Impossible series, nor am I a big Tom Cruise fan, but this movie looks freaking cool. Second film and the third film are my favorite in the series. I have not seen Ghost Protocol, so I might be a little out of the loop. I'll definitely be watching on Netflix very soon before this film comes out. I believe it's scheduled to come out at the end of July, so that's good timing, right at the end of summer. And they're just dropping the trailer now, which is smart. It's close enough to when the film is going to release that it stays in your mind. It's not like we're going to drop it in December, you forget about it by February, and then like, oh, the movie's out.
Forget about what?
Just like that. I'm on to you. Well, since you had to do that, Ben, what were your thoughts on the trailer?
Well, you know, it looks pretty good. I don't mind it. It's going to be another summer blockbuster coming out, having a lot of fun. It's got a good cast so far. We have Tom Cruise, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, Alec Baldwin, and Ving Rhames, just to name a few.
Alec Baldwin?
Alec Baldwin.
Indeed. You know, I'm kind of in the same category. I've never really got into the whole spy thing. I never really got into the Mission Impossible kind of thing. Nothing against, you know, the acting, nothing against the franchise. Just, you know, wasn't my cup of tea. But, you know, from it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we just saw him, you know, hanging out the side of an airplane. It looked like there was a flute shotgun, a sniper rifle in there somewhere, so that looked kind of cool. It's directed... A flute?
I think so.
A fluke?
A flute.
A flute.
With a T.
Okay. The director is Christopher McQuarrie, who did Jack Reacher and Way of the Gun. As a writer, he did The Usual Suspects, Jack the Giant Slayer, Jack Reacher, and Edge of Tomorrow. So it's going to be a lot of action, a lot of excitement, and we'll see how it stacks up to the rest of them. Which hopefully I'll get a chance to, I guess, go back and watch all these ones before I watch this one. It's not
kind of memory refresher type thing.
Yeah, you know, or actually just, you know,
the story could go.
See the movie
yeah.
since I never saw it.
You were talking about seeing all the previous ones. I'd say you'd be safe just kind of catching Ghost Protocol. It's kind of like with Ghost Protocol, the trilogy
Something has popped up on your calendar.
has
Nice.
Glad they finished that with calendar and
I know,
not something
right?
else in there.
That could have been really awkward.
Something has popped
More than it already was. Something has popped up, and it just stopped right there.
No, but Ghost Protocol.
I swear to God, we're not drunk, we're not stoned, we're completely sober. If anything, we're just tired. So,
Yeah.
I am.
But Ghost Protocol was like a re-imaging of the whole Mission Impossible sort of trail they were going. Mission Impossible, what was it, 3?
Mm-hmm.
He was, you know, he had like a family, settled down, or at least tried to, and that was also, wasn't that also Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Yeah, that was with Phil Seymour Hoffman and Kerry Russell. And,
yeah, that was a while
that was the
back.
introduction of Simon Pegg's character.
But it was also, wait, no, Simon Pegg wasn't.
Yeah, it was. Mission Impossible 3.
He was in 3?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, and then it ties in that way, but as far as the story arc goes, it seems like Ghost Protocol deviates from Mission Impossible 3 a lot. But as far as the style goes, I mean, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was definitely more of kind of like that secret agent spy. You know, you kind of look at the movies like Bourne Identity and things like that, and then, you know, Mission Impossible is the Ghost Protocol is a bit of like a combination of the two. I just felt like the old Mission Impossible movies were very bland, like Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 3 was like, I didn't care for it as much. Even going back watching the classic first one, it was entertaining, but
Fortunately, because I actually rewatched the first one a couple months ago. It was on TV, and it looks dated.
Yeah,
It
there's
feels
the word.
It feels dated. I mean,
There's
with
a word you can
technology,
say,
technology,
Yeah.
You know, we have actually caught up to our dreams that we've seen, that we've thought about in like Bond films and such, and Mission Impossible, and in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and in sci-fi. A lot of it's, I'm gonna relate to Marvel a little bit. When they did with Marvel with Iron Man, a lot was grounded in very real technology that is within a 10-year period of being real, and that's what makes it neat. That's what makes it neat and different. And I think it makes it stick out more and feel more real, even as a film.
So Hulkbusters.
Hulkbusters are on their way.
I'm sure Ford's already got a...
You know, morning commute. Just, you know, duke it out with the guy who cut you off. Right? Smash. Yoda as a Hulkbuster. That's awesome.
I was going to say.
As far as the trailer goes, though, I mean, it was... To me, it appeared the same. Like, there's not really much going on. I mean, the trailer, yeah, it kind of shows you, it's like, hey, it's going to be an action film. But as far as, like, the story goes, it's very straightforward. But it doesn't really give you a sense of suspense, like, how is this movie going to play out or something. It's just real straightforward. It's about a rogue nation, an anti-MI6.
Which I think is cool, because I think that it's going to be very much on par as far as, like, equal.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, skill, tactfulness, I guess, tactics even.
Right.
Kind of, you know, keep them on their toes, because they're just as good, if not better,
and
than
like
Ethan Hunt and his team.
Like, as you bring that up too, it's one of those things that we're used to seeing, kind of with the Mission Impossible movies, like seeing the heroes win. Well, if you're saying like these guys are just as good, I mean, there is kind of potential there to say like, well, one of them could fall, or you know, something to where it's like, hey, this person's not going to return for the next film because their character got jacked up in the last film.
Another one bites the dust.
Right.
Well, speaking of the next film, we have our weekly, or as we try to make them weekly, Blu Ray and DVD releases. Every time Benji's on the show, he brings a list of what's new out to buy or rent on Blu Ray and DVD, and what has come out this week. A couple ones that I want to see, or buy, actually.
Yeah. So we got it for March 24th. There wasn't a lot for... I think there was only one for the 25th.
Yeah.
Some podunky thing I never heard of. But
I thought those were
we got Into the Woods, the 2014 version. You got Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Got Unbroken, the Fast and the Furious 1 through 6 collection.
Oh, jeez.
Got The Hobbit with the motion picture. I tried to click on the link, but my computer crashed, so not really sure. But it's from 2012 to 2014. Fast and Furious 6, so if you don't like the other ones, you can just get
that one by itself.
One, or whatever. And Chattahoochee, 1989, Gary Oldman, Dennis Hopper film. They're thrown around, so you can probably...
Now, obviously, The Hobbit's one I'm looking to buy. I'm looking to buy, like, I know they're going to probably end up doing an extended box set, like they did with the other films.
Like they did.
Like a one package
when they put them on
deal.
Blu-ray,
yeah,
extended Blu-rays. That thing was definitely a sitting.
Yeah, I definitely will want to buy that. But another one that I'm actually willing to rent, at least, to see it is Into the Woods. I don't know if you've seen that one yourself.
Haven't seen it, but I want to see it.
You want to see it?
Absolutely.
Same.
So, like, it's got a great cast. I mean, you got Meryl Streep in there, Anna Kendrick, Chris Pine, Emily Blunt, who's, yeah, just all kinds of lovely.
Blunt.
You have
Blunt.
an incoming message.
You need to work on that.
Well, that one said message instead of calendar, so
Okay.
she's
We hired an
specific.
intern for this
We
show,
had an,
so
yeah,
something.
it's in Golden
I know.
Delicious' pocket here. I don't know why.
And then she may be featured in Pacific Rim. So
Oh wow, that's one I still haven't gotten all the way through.
what?
I tried. I'm not a.
You need watch Evangelion first.
You know me in anime. I'm not gonna make it through that even. I can make it through Pacific Rim before I make it through Evangelion. Sorry. I've tried. I really have. Last topic for the day. This is gonna be a shorter show, but that's okay. The Russo Brothers are in talks to sign and final negotiations to direct the Infinity War for Marvel Studios. As you know, when they released their slate back in, I believe, November of what their next 9 films would be, the cap-off was going to be Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 coming out in 2018 and concluding 2019. Anthony and Joe Russo are right now in final negotiation talks to direct Infinity War. I'm not sure if it's both films or just one.
Both films.
Is it both films?
Yeah.
Okay, the direct both films, I guess, is one giant piece. The Russos obviously have great success with Marvel Studios after the work they did on Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
They found great acclaim coming from TV, from shows like Community, who did a lot of comedy, and then taking this action-adventure spy thriller film and just really making a standout production.
Yeah.
So one can only imagine what they're going to do with Avengers. A lot of people were kind of speculating that Joss Whedon would be directing Avengers and kind of finishing out a trilogy. Not going to happen. He himself has stated that after Age of Ultron, he is, at least for the time being, probably done with Marvel, claiming he hasn't done anything of his own creative will in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. I mean, if you want to do something of your own project, of your own work, you want to do it. And obviously, he's got more than enough support under his belt from the studios, from fans. God knows how many fans he has, that he can do whatever he wants, and that's fine. Joss Whedon's a very creative man. I mean, obviously, we've seen that with the shows he's done.
He's going to work his way back into the Whedonverse.
Yeah. Just bring back Firefly. That's all I want. Firefly is, like, greatest show ever canceled. But yeah, the Russo Brothers directing Avengers Infinity War is a very daunting task, I think, when looking at it, because I believe my theory is that it will include everything that we've seen so far in the Marvel Universe, from the 9 Realms of Asgard to Guardians of the Galaxy to Thanos to the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Gems to the Avengers themselves, maybe even go a little further into the world of Inhumans and such. So it almost feels like a crowning piece. Like if you were to say this is the end of Marvel Studios, what a way to go out! And 2 guys directing it who know how to work together,
and
who have great success,
done one too.
and have already done one film together, so they have an idea of what they look for
Right.
in the Marvel continuity as far as scope and scale. But I think even this film will be the biggest production we've ever seen come out of them. And it's a great risk, I think, for Disney to really just put their faith in their directors that they have, and I think it's awesome.
Well, the other thing too is that is it Disney picking the directors, or is it Marvel picking the directors? I mean, there's...
Well, I'm sure it's Marvel picking the directors, but obviously Marvel is owned by Disney, so I'm sure Disney is in on those meetings as well.
But also, as we previously discussed, it's like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. Disney's probably in that thing. It's like, hey, we'll support you guys, we support your decisions. You guys aren't broken as a company, so there's no reason to change what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. Now, this, I can't say the same for when they obtained LucasArts. Just kind of going into this a little bit. When they obtained LucasArts, they shut down the
game department.
The game department, yeah. So they kind of, I don't know what their thing was. I mean, I know some of the Star Wars games that came out of LucasArts, it did really well, but just I think it was a little different for Disney to say, hey, we kind of produce violent video games. Well, that's...
Well, the thing with Disney is Disney does have an image. Obviously, if you want to be a successful company, you have to protect your image. And they're doing that while still having great success in everything else they do. In their live-action films, obviously in their animated films.
Yeah.
Winning Best Animated Film this last year at the Oscars for Big Hero 6 is a Disney production. A lot of people forget that those are still Disney films. When we think of computer-generated movies, it's just Pixar or DreamWorks or Sony Animation.
It's for some it's they'd rather see the 2D over the 3D like Pixar and stuff. And yeah, it is Disney. Mm-hmm. Disney's storytelling kind of thing, but that's more of Disney's department. Now, when it comes to Marvel, I think Disney doesn't really have that, like, you can't do this. Now, when it comes to some movies, like...
I mean, they did... recently, Bob Iger had made a statement with Disney that there is to be no instances of on-screen smoking in any of their films, including Star Wars, the Marvel Universe, animated films, live-action films, unless it is historically accurate. So if they're doing a historical piece... Let's say they want to do a film on Abraham Lincoln, and let's say it's a scene with him and General Grant, and Grant's having a cigar. Historically, that's true. Grant was a cigar smoker, so they would keep it in that instance. But as far as like other films that have no historical significance to that person's character, there's a mandate throughout the whole company, including the ones they bought, Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios, that there is no smoking in their films.
Well, that, and the other influence I would say is the Age of Ultron trailer, the Pinocchio.
That's great. That's my favorite thing probably about the entire marketing for Age of Ultron.
Next, they're going to do the Little Mermaid song.
They just completely took Pinocchio and made it dark, and just made it creepy as hell.
Never watch Pinocchio the same.
Benny, what are your thoughts on the Russos directing Infinity Wars?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be fantastic, man. I have no complaints. Obviously with the shows they've done in the past, it's been success, so who's to say it's not going to work out all right?
Yeah, just as far as like kind of the Josh has brought a kind of a feel for the movie. Do you think the Russos were really? I'm not saying they're purposely going to try to change it up, but after seeing Captain America: Winter Soldier, I feel like they could make the Avengers, I don't know, a bit more. I don't know if you want to call it tactical or practical or something like that. Just the Avengers movie, it still felt a little like it was a bit comical, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Winter Soldier was a bit like real and it was in depth.
But even when looking at the marketing that they're doing right now for Age of Ultron, it's a very different feel of film from the like. If you go back and watch the trailer for Avengers, it's really fun. It's really kind of light and it's exciting. Looking at the marketing that they've done for Age of Ultron, it's a lot darker. It's a lot, even just a lot the way the lighting is, the way the scenes are shot, the way it's cut, at least the way they've produced the trailer. It's much darker, a little heavier. Feels like at this film they're going to lose something or someone. You feel it just in that marketing. I think, and as they progress more into Civil War, into Doctor Strange, they're going to get progressively maybe a little bit darker, maybe a little more serious in some aspects. Not all of them, obviously. The nice thing about the Marvel films is they do have a sense of self-awareness that this is a comic book film, and they're going to take complete advantage of that and just have as much fun as possible with these films. And I think the Russos understand that because I had so much fun with Winter Soldier. It's a film I can watch over and over again, and I have. God knows how many times. So I think bringing that towards Infinity Wars, plus with the fact that you'll probably be bringing in some of the Guardians and some of the weirdness and fun and even that whole kind of space opera feeling to it. He's basically kind of mashing Star Wars type with comic books and just making it explode into awesomeness.
Gotcha.
So that's really my thought. That's no problem.
Also, kind of out of curiosity, I was just thinking when you brought up Thor and all those other movies, Thor did have the Infinity Gauntlet in it.
Yes, it did. In Odin's vault, he has the Infinity Gauntlet itself.
Now I know this is probably just throwing it out there, but the Thor movie timeline, where does that sit with all the other movies?
Which part of it?
Well, the first movie, because the Gauntlet is finished, so I mean...
Well, I think you kind of have to take that and base it on where, obviously, the prologue in the film takes place would be the beginning of, if you take the Marvel Cinematic Universe and put it into an actual timeline, the beginning of Thor, the whole prologue where he talks about the creation of the Nine Realms and everything, that's the beginning of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
And I think the events of Thor take place... Actually, there's a comic book that Marvel produced called Fury's Big Week, which basically kind of reconstructs the timeline and shows you what is happening at what point. And it all takes place between Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor. All those events take place within a 1 week period.
That's right. Yeah, I do recall that. So, and in addition to the Russo Brothers being announced, or at least in talks for this deal, it was kind of detailed last week, 2 weeks ago, that they were going to do the male version of the Ghostbusters with the Channing Tatum Channing Tatum. Yeah. Now, I don't know. Just for me, I'd be like, if you were offered to do a movie with Marvel and they really, really want you, it's like, if you were to drop the Ghostbusters movie, would you? Or?
Well, it depends on where you are in a deal. Like if they have actually signed a deal with Sony Pictures, like they have signed the paperwork contract that we're going to make this film. As someone in this business, you obviously need to honor your word. If you're going to make a project,
right,
you need to honor that. Otherwise, you lose credibility with that company, with that studio. And since Sony and Marvel have gone into a negotiation with Spider-Man, I see it as being no real problem that they could try to balance between two projects or get one project off the ground before the other.
Right.
Now, obviously, that Ghostbusters thing, they were only really announced as, I think, directors for a Ghostbusters reboot with an all-male cast, kind of coinciding with the Paul Feig all-female cast. But I don't think there was an actual set release date for that film.
No.
Or anything other than it was announced, this is their idea, and Channing Tatum wants to be in it. He himself has actually said he wants to be part of it.
Yeah.
So. But
at the same time, though, it's like if things get pushed too long, they start overlapping with other contracts, and it voids it voids the contract that came first. So being that Sony had theirs for Ghostbusters, if they take too long to get into pre-production and all that stuff, it definitely Infinity War is going to take precedence.
Yeah, well, obviously Infinity War does have a set time frame and date and everything for production.
They've got a plan. They've always got a plan.
Well, as with every podcast, we usually try to watch a movie. Tonight we're watching Glory from Edward Zwick with Matthew Broderick, Andre Braugher, Denzel Washington, Cary Ells, and Morgan Freeman. This is a film I've not seen in a long time, so I forgot just how freaking violent it is. I don't know, have either of you guys ever seen this movie before?
Loaded.
No?
No, I haven't
Ben
seen
shaking
it.
his head no? So I'm the only one who ever seen it. It's very good. I mean, it's a nice little history piece. Matthew Broderick, very young. And a very serious role. So it's not Ferris Bueller War Games, where he's kind of smart-assy.
Yeah.
It's a very good film. We are still wanting to do a CineMunn commentary track for a film. I'm hoping to get that off the ground before summer starts. It's just right now it's been conflict of schedule between the three of us. So, and I think we have a film picked out. I'm not quite sure.
We spoke of Jaws.
We'd spoken of Jaws.
Yeah.
I think Jaws is the one we want to do.
Yeah.
So we'll be wanting to do that, and I think next week is April 1st.
For coming Monday.
Maybe.
Is it April 1st next week? I think it's on Tuesday or Wednesday. If it's on Wednesday, are we still planning our?
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Surprise.
Yeah, next Wednesday is April 1st.
Okay. We'll surprise you with something. All right. That's our podcast for the night. Once again, I was joined by the ever here Benjamin Briggs.
What?
He's not here. It's okay. And of course, Golden Delicious himself, Time Metropolis.
Yeah.
Dude, as long as your hair stays blonde, that title's sticking, and probably even afterwards. So good.
Yeah, it needs to go back.
Come up with one for you, man.
Let's not.
Yeah.
The mocha latte.
Oh, that's creepy. I don't even like talking.
Brown sizzle.
Man, sizzle.
Brown sizzle.
Oh, brown
Starting to
sizzle.
look like
Brown
that the haircut from Dumb and Dumber.
Wow, that's mean. Lloyd Christmas.
Oh, there you go. Dreaming of a brown Christmas. There you go.
The limo driver.
Wow, that sounds like irritable bowel syndrome on Christmas. Well, that's our show for the night, folks. Thanks for joining us. Once again, if you like this video, please let us know by clicking the like button. Also, subscribe to our page, share it with your friends, family, loved ones. Listen to us on your way to work, while you're working out at the gym.
While you're working
Cooking.
at the gym.
While you're working in the kitchen. That's
There
what I
you
do. I listen to podcasts while I'm at work. I work in the kitchen. Hey, look at that. So, you have no excuse. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you next time.